The whole point of, I think, this moment is to experiment, ultimately, and not to get too precious. You know, we obviously were meant to be in Milan. We're actually in a nightclub in London in the morning, which is always very strange. I just wanted something that was a bit silly. You have to have fun, because I think, you know, you have to lose yourself into the fantasy of clothing at the moment. You know, the world changes and fashion has to adapt to that. In menswear especially, I've kind of gone to this idea of, like, I was watching a video or a documentary on Ronaldo, and I was thinking to myself, if you imagine Ronaldo running around a pitch on his own with no football, is it kind of like Strictly Come Dancing somehow? I'm very into these, like, kind of hula hoop looks that are kind of, we based on this idea of a hula hoop, it's like caught midway. It really goes back to that kind of DNA of JW Anderson, which is this idea that it is a wardrobe that can be shared. Gender identity at the moment is going to be a massive issue over the next 10 years, because I feel like we are only starting to kind of grapple with it in mainstream media. I've always thought that clothing is about the future, and it has to kind of always have an element where you are delving into your own fantasy. You can still be pragmatic and crazy at the same time. Do you know what I mean? I think it's about where you see yourself in the future. And I feel like I cannot project myself on a sofa right now. I cannot project myself into a doom state scenario. It has to be something which is a bit silly, a bit kind of experimental. The way in which I always see it is that I feel very lucky to be alive, and I feel very humbled that I have a job and that I can do what I do. I think sometimes when I look at the world, I think in the moment it always feels worse than it really is. You know, politically the world will always be a mess. Financially the world will always be a mess. You know, there will be pandemics, there will be environmental consequences, all these things will happen, but you know, we all have to do better ultimately. And I think as we do better, things will become better.